This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Net25 and Globe My Business present Open for Business.
This program is supported by PMEG Premium at Protect Plus Gold. Sama-sama sa laban, walang iwanan.
Greetings from the Philippines to the world. We are on Facebook Live on Eagle News and Net25 TV and also on our streaming site, eaglenewslive.com. Watch us on our YouTube channel at Net25 TV. I am Cesar Vallejos. Welcome to Open for Business. Join me discover the latest news and information in business around the world. Stay ahead of the curve from vision to action. According to UN.org, women stand at the front lines of the COVID-19 crisis as healthcare workers, caregivers, innovators, community organizers, and some of the most exemplary and effective national leaders in combating the pandemic. The United Nations also declared this year's theme, Women in Leadership, Achieving an Equal Future in a COVID-19 World, that celebrates the tremendous efforts by women and girls around the world in shaping a more equal future and recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. Open for Business is also joining Globe My Business to commemorate the International Women's Month as we make conversations on the role of women in advancing entrepreneurship during the pandemic. We honor the achievements of women-led SMEs, Filipino entrepreneurs, their visibility in the new future, and how women chose to innovate their business in spite of the uncertainties of 2020. Gracing our virtual studio are Ms. Dana Maharocon, Managing Director of Lala Move Philippines, and Ms. Julie Otueste, CEO and founder of Hair MNL, in this week's episode of Open for Business.
Sa panahon na laganap ang mga sakit, katuwang nyo ang PMEG Premium at Protect Plus Gold. Gawa sa state-of-the-art facilities ang PMEG Premium Feeds. Kaya ito ay safe, sanitized, and hygienic. Walang dalang sakit, certified, malinis, sariwa at sigurado. At para laging malinis ang paligid, gumamit ng Protect Plus Gold. Isang safe broad-spectrum disinfectant na pumapatay ng mga virus, bacteria at fungi. PMEG Premium at Protect Plus Gold. Sama-sama sa laban, walang iwanan.
Who will take home the glory? We'll find out as we head onto the Talis and Galing Part 2 Dance Edition.
Open for Business is back, and with me is Ms. Dana Maharocon, the Managing Director of Lala Move Philippines. How are you, Dan?
Hi, Cesar. Thank you so much for having me here again. I'm doing okay. Thank you. How about you?
It's perfect, although we are both in a lockdown. As a matter of fact, as mentioned earlier, we suspended our studio operations because we wanted to help in curbing the surge of COVID-19. But as we both know, your industry is one of the primary movers during the pandemic, and you really have this huge role in this development. So far, how was the pandemic for you? What were the developments in your industry? And a lot of things have changed. Can you describe the journey of of the logistics industry during the pandemic, Miss Dan?
Well, we've been on lockdown for, well, in a community quarantine, so to speak, for the past 12 months, right? And a lot of things have definitely changed. Lala Move being a digital company, I would say, has made it a little more manageable for us in the sense that the team working from home, since everything is embedded in technology, was actually a manageable task, right? Ensuring that we have communications or support in communications such as Wi-Fi, phone lines, etc. Was definitely supported by Globe My Business, which we are very, very thankful for. So mobilizing people to work from home was actually something that we managed to pull off quite well, right? Some of the biggest changes that we had to adapt to was actually more on the partner driver side, where for Lalamu, we would continue to onboard as many partner drivers as we possibly can. Number one, because having more partner drivers on the road would encourage more people to stay at home, therefore help curb the spread of the virus. Number two, with the rise of unemployment here in the Philippines, having continuing to onboard and open access to Lalamu will allow people to have another alternative source of income for the economy to continue moving, right? For SMEs, MSMEs, and enterprise businesses, having Lalamove as an option to be able to continue their businesses and do deliveries for their products is something that was also extremely valuable. So moving from 2020 into 2021, right? I would say that the biggest change is that the heavy dependence that Filipino has now for deliveries has really skyrocketed. The business overnight, when the ECQ was announced, it grew by 7 times, and year on year it's still continuing to grow. March last year versus this year is easily 4 times its size, right? So it's I would say an opportunity in the midst of hardship. And it's also a good opportunity for a lot of people because, again, we were able to provide a source of income and a source for people to continue their business.
Wow, that's good to know, Miss Dan. And it's true that Filipinos were very dependent on deliveries. Without this, delivery sector, without the companies like you have, it would have been, more difficult for us Filipinos to face the pandemic. And you mentioned about this figure. It grew 7 times. Can you expound more on that figure, Ms. Dan?
So the 7 times figure is how much deliveries had grown overnight from pre-ECQ into ECQ. Of course, it's everyone was panicking, right? People had to work from home, mobilizing all the laptops and devices that companies needed. People panicked, grocery shopping, stocking up, etc. That really propelled the urgency for deliveries. But of course, as things started normalizing, may not be 7 times, but it's still 4 times our 2020 volume now that we are into 2021. We've grown our driver base into such a huge amount now. We have over 100,000 partner drivers that now earn a living through Lalamove. So they're able to put food on the table, they're able to sustain their families, they're able to let their children do, study at home or distance learning, which is fantastic because while this event, this whole pandemic issue is unfortunate, we really need to think of things or find ways to cope.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ms. Dan, we also believe that people and things will no longer go back to the old one. And we are, as a nation, also adapting to these changes. And things will never go back to where they used to be. So in terms of a business model, do you think this will continue, and if this continues, what types of innovations are you looking at? I'm sure um, your industry is one of the gainers during the pandemic. Your services have become, one of the most essential services that are being utilized by us Filipinos. So, what innovations are you thinking so that you will be able to, make more advancements and help Filipinos, and those especially the ones who have lost their jobs, and also for MSMEs who want also to bounce back and make use of your products and services?
Okay. Well, in terms of Lala Move as a business, right? We are inherently embedded in technology. The way you access our services would be through an app. The way the partner drivers communicate with you is also through technology. How you get access to our support team is also through technology, right? So for us, further innovation is not just focused on making our app more seamless or making it more powerful, but rather innovation for Lala Move is coming up with more relevant solutions to make deliveries fast and simple. Our advocacy is and will always be to empower the local communities that we serve. And centering all our decisions into ensuring that we continue to empower these communities would mean upgrades in the features that our business users will find value for, our partner drivers will find value for, and of course, the Filipino community will be able to use in order to uplift their lives and move forward despite all the challenges that they're experiencing. So that could be as simple as a new service type. In late January, we launched a new vehicle type, 200 kg sedan. So now from motorcycles all the way to sedans, to SUVs, to vans, to small and medium trucks, you can book a Lala Move in order to do deliveries. Now businesses, no matter how big or small the items are, can just use Lala Move, right? From a partner driver standpoint, on the other hand, we do create more job earning opportunities rather for people, because now if you have a sedan, you can earn through Lala Move, right? That continuation of that kind of mindset where we're always on the lookout as to what else do Filipinos need has allowed us to grow in the size that and scale that we're in now. We are in Manila, we are in Cebu, and we just launched 3 weeks ago in Pampanga. So now we're able to help people in the greater Manila area, our Cebuano brothers, our Kapampangan brothers and sisters. So this is a fantastic means to, pay it forward and help more.
Wow. That's perfect. That's great to know. Miss Dan, actually, we are talking with you again because we are celebrating a very special commemoration this month, and that is the celebration of the International Women's Month. And a lot of you women, mothers, girlfriends are also frontliners. You've been in the business for so long. Some of you are leaders, technopreneurs, and you have been, the key drivers in, everything that we do, and we're very thankful. As a woman, I know this sounds like a Miss World or Miss Universe question, but what to you as a woman is worth celebrating?
All right. Caesar, thank you so much for that question. I think that a lot of things about women need to be celebrated year-round, but it's always good to dedicate a month for it, to remind people that there is so much to celebrate. With all the challenges that we've experienced in 2020, this year, I really would like to celebrate every single victory that comes, big or small. A year into this pandemic, everyone has suffered greatly. A lot has happened, and a lot has changed. So I choose to stay positive, look at the bright side of things, and keep in mind that women are trailblazers, right? This is why we celebrate International Women's Month. Women are making such huge strides in the world. Women are now able to constantly show everyone that I can manage a household, being at home, and do my work, and make such a gigantic difference in the industry, and be successful in the personal career, right? There's nothing that a woman can do. And for me, that is worth celebrating. So we need to celebrate the years where we now see more women in key roles, key decision-making roles that are able to make an impact to society in private organizations or public organizations. It's a more positive change that's able to impact so many people's lives. And it's now a nice mix of, men, women, young or old, and that is definitely worth celebrating, how we are all able to move forward despite all odds.
Wow, that's very enlightening, Miss Dan, and truly that's really inspirational, because you yourself, you're one of the, and of course, epitome of a woman who has made it in business. What is your view on how we also perform? How is the Filipina as a nation collectively fare with our Asian counterparts, Miss Dane?
Okay. Well, I come from an industry that is quite traditional. Logistics has been here since any of us was born, right? So it's often perceived, though, that logistics is predominantly dominated by males. Actually, one of the first things that I had to encounter when I was starting out with my role, when I would get introduced, it would always be Dan Maharokan, a woman in logistics. And initially, I was a little frustrated with that. Why do you have to mention a woman in logistics? Eventually, I gained an appreciation to that, because I realized every single conversation, communication that makes it embedded in people's minds that women need to be a part of more activities, more businesses, more industries, has allowed people to be more open to it. Conversation is what starts everything, and then action, and then the continuation of that. In the Philippines, I would say that we have already made a lot of progress on this. For instance, in Lalamu, we are actually female dominated. We have close to 300 employees here in the Philippines, majority of which are actually Filipinos. Our management team is also predominantly women driven, right? It's not a matter of just pushing the agenda of having more women there, but rather creating a stage where there is equal opportunity for everyone, male, female, young or old, to be able to show your talent, make a difference, and make sure to move the business forward. What I think separates us from other companies or delivery providers even is that Lalamu values care within all aspects of our business. Right. And to your second question, how do we fare against our other counterparts in other countries? Some countries have also made some progress. Some countries are still very much male dominated. But like I said earlier, it always starts with a conversation, right? So Lalamove is a global company. And what I'm very proud to say is that in Lalamove, we actually value people's skills, create opportunities for people in order to grow, regardless of what background you come from. We have Filipinos, male and female, working in our Hong Kong arm, in our US arm, in our Latin America arm. We have Filipinos everywhere in Lalamu, which is amazing because now the conversation shifts from just gender equality, but opportunity equality, no age or gender or racial bias there. It's really just about creating an equal stage for people to learn and grow. And more countries, companies are finally getting to that stage because, this whole pandemic, this is an equalizer. Now, this is not a matter of who you know, right? Now, this is really, you work from home. How do you show that you have the right skills and that you have the chops to get the job done?
Miss Dan, that was really very enlightening. And when you say that, yes, there's progress in our other ASEAN countries, and it's really more of the mindset of the Filipina, especially now during the pandemic, where you can show your skill, your talent, whether you are a man or a woman. How is it for a woman like you to be on top of everything, you giving all the instructions and directions, and can you cite some maybe hurdles or in the workplace and how you were able to overcome them?
Um, you're right in saying that there are still more men that are conducting the delivery services. So from a Lalamove organizational structure side, right, I mentioned that our team is predominantly female, right? I believe our ratio is about 70-30 or 60-40, predominantly female. But from a partner driver standpoint, our over 100,000 partner drivers here are still 95% male. However, you notice that there is a 5% now impact of females doing deliveries. When I started in Lalamo, we were looking at a measly 1, right? And now we're already up to 5. I mentioned that this pandemic is an equalizer. Now people just want to make sure that they earn a living and they're able to help out their families. And the female partner drivers that we have are actually the best partner drivers that we have, because they know that as they conduct their business, they're doing it for their family, for themselves, in order to grow and move forward, right? I would say that one of the biggest things or the biggest challenges that I had to deal with when I started was getting to ensure that I'm able to connect with the partner drivers. So when I started out in Lalamove, I made sure to conduct trainings myself, talk to the drivers myself, treat them with respect. I think up until 1,000 drivers, I knew every single partner driver's name. And then pagdating ng 1,001, I couldn't anymore. My brain couldn't take it, but I knew their faces.
Really?
Yes.
Really? 1,000 names?
Yes, because it was the best way. I wouldn't say direct, right? I'm not in any way directing our partner drivers to do what they have to do. I am merely here to influence, guide, mentor even people in order for us to be able to conduct our business and help the Filipino community. The entire Lalamove organization, from myself to the managers to the teammates that we all have a mindset of ensuring that we do get to connect with the partner drivers that we have, open communications, know what it is that they need and how to make sure that they are well supported. And so far, we've managed to successfully do that. I mean, when I started when I first joined Lalamove, we had a little over 100 drivers, and now that's, times over 1,000 already with the growth.
Yes. Yeah, and congratulations, Miss Dan. You truly inspire a lot of women. My question is, there is a project of Globe My Business, and this honors Pinay entrepreneurs. They call it the Pinaypreneur, and this was also launched during the COVID-19 pandemic. So my question regarding that is what skill sets do you think Pinaypreneurs should have to be able to survive the pandemic?
Okay. So this is quite a mouthful, no? So bear with me a little. For me, a Pinaypreneur needs to be highly adaptable in these trying times. I've seen a lot of businesses close down because of the pandemic, but a lot of businesses also adapted and had undergone digitalization in order to keep up with all the challenges and ordeals that we face. Right? I believe in being aggressive enough to take risks, to move forward, and to be able to be adaptable enough to survive this pandemic and all the challenges that we have ahead. Aside from the ability to adapt, a Pinaypreneur or Pinaypreneurs rather should keep in mind that they need to be bold and be courageous, right? Pinaypreneurs shouldn't be afraid to take risks and to be firm with their decisions, right? Another would be innovative. Don't be afraid to try out new things, move forward, constantly be on the lookout as to what your customers need, what people need. And treat them as people in order to come up with relevant products and services that will make a difference for them. You know, Pinaypreneurs love to experiment, to try out new things, and keep up with the challenging or changing times rather. It's very easy for people with these kinds of values to spot new trends, new opportunities, because they always want to move forward. And now they think of these opportunities into something that they can make bigger and make into ventures that they can earn from. For example, app development, new products to offer, partnerships that would add value, right?
Your business model is hinged on this very important technology, and that is it has a very crucial role, especially during the pandemic, because I think the logistics industry, flourished, during the pandemic because of that powerful technology behind it. Can you discuss more how important this technology is, and what types or digital solutions are you using from our partner to ensure the continuity of your business?
Okay. Well, so given that Lala Move is a technology company, right? What we absolutely need in order for us to continue functioning is the means to support such a technology, which would be, data connectivity, whether it's wired or wireless, right? This is something that's absolutely necessary. So with Globe My Business, we've been able to allow our people to continue working from home. We've been able to allow our partner drivers to continue working on the road. And of course, with all the SMEs that we support here in the country, this type of strong and stable data connection allows them to book the Lala Move service and continue their business. Now, technology is a means to connect, connect your loved ones, connect your colleagues, even from a distance. And as a company that still has to be on a work from home setup, our people now have wired connection, and they even have a wireless or a Wi-Fi pack from Globe My Business to make sure that the connection never stops. So this allows us to continue to do our work, whether it's connecting with our fellow teammates, whether it's connecting to our partner drivers, our clients as well, to ensure that the business moves forward. Technology has allowed women, people, to support each other, women from different groups, women from different social backgrounds, have been showing their support through various advocacies. And technology has been able to power that and let more people hear about that. So from a Lala Move standpoint, Globe My Business really has been absolutely essential to make an essential service like ours continue to grow, continue to service people. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Miss Dan. I've been hearing that the pandemic has been the time for us to reflect. But you, as a successful technopreneur, a woman technopreneur, what are your learnings and what have been your reflections, either professional or personal, Miss Dan?
One of the biggest learnings that I've had as a woman, as an entrepreneur, as heading an organization as big as Lala Move is that despite all the challenges that we encounter, we always have to stay true to what our core mission is. For Lala Move, that's to uplift the lives of the communities that we serve. Every single decision that we do, technological advancement that we make, policies that we roll out, always centers on that. That's what makes companies like Lala Move pandemic proof, so to speak, because it allows us to pivot very, very fast. If you stay true to what your core mission is as a company, as a person, right, you can pivot. Pivot in an extreme manner, whether it's to overhaul your business altogether, because your North Star still stays true. right? From a woman's standpoint, since we're talking about Women's Month, right? There have been a lot of transformative changes. The US had just elected their first woman vice president. The Philippines also has a female vice president. We've had a female president way back when, right? Gender roles, traditional gender roles, the barriers are starting to be completely broken. And these times that we are in right now, these transformative changes digitally and socially are just the beginning. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how more female entrepreneurs, female leaders will be able to influence more companies and society as a whole in order for us as a country to be able to move forward.
Thank you so much, Miss Tan. I look forward to more successes from your organization, and I look forward to a bigger Lala move. And I'd like to thank the whole team from Globe My Business, Miss Jill, Miss Mitch, Miss Sarah, and Miss Gail for allowing this conversation with Miss Tana Maharapon, the Managing Director of Lala Move Philippines, the CEO and founder of Hair MNL, Miss Julie, will be joining us and Open for Business return. Stay with us.
This portion is brought to you by Globe My Business.
Kumanta, sumaya tayong lahat. Saya-saya.
Open for Business is back, and with me is Miss Julie Ortuste, the CEO and founder of Hair MNL. How are you, Miss Julie?
Good afternoon, Caesar, and thank you for having me. Thank you so much for this opportunity. The pandemic has been challenging, but so far we're doing okay.
Yes, and it's quite interesting that in the industry that you are in, it is considered, correct me if I'm wrong, it's considered a non-essential product or service. As a matter of fact, you are one of the industries that were heavily affected during the lockdown. So, as an entrepreneur, how challenging was that? Where everything was initially going really good, but here comes the lockdown and everything was on a standstill. How did you manage?
So luckily for us, we are a salon and we do have an online store selling salon professional products. So while the salon is considered by government as non-essential, selling of shampoos, conditioners, does count as essential. So when the lockdown was first announced, we were actually able to operate with just our e-com side because that was considered essential. And what happened to us was we closed the salon and we continued serving our e-commerce clients. And it was actually good that the e-com side was able to employ the team during the lockdown.
Yeah, it's a good thing, Miss Julie, that somehow you have already initially embraced digital marketing or even e-commerce. Diba, with the other industries or SMEs, diba? Parang it took them. We were just talking about it as a concept, and it was really COVID-19 that compelled them, a lot of business owners to do it. In your case, Miss Julie, was it really something that you prepared for? I know that you were not expecting it, but how ready were you in terms of this e-commerce pivoting?
So we were actually very lucky that we were in the right position to still have a business when the pandemic started. What we were actually looking at before was convenience for the shopper. So that was the need state we were trying to address. And it just so happened that by offering convenience to deliver these salon exclusive products to the home, by the time the pandemic happened, it it was it served another function, which was to be able to operate during a time when there was a pandemic. So I would say it's luck. In some ways, luck. So what happened was, with when it comes to our business, the infrastructure was already in place. All we had to do was adjust to people's needs. And in our case, it was a matter of shifting to a different category and providing other offers that were relevant at that time. But in terms of the infrastructure, it was actually not as difficult for us because everything was already in place. Payment gateways, the website, etc.
Now, that was really something very insightful, Miss Julie, because you were saying that you had to somehow discover what the customers want, the changes in their behavior, the changes in what they like. And I agree with you. I know for a fact, because I have a wife who has also problems with her hair. And of course, the hair, crowns your beauty as women, di ba? Ironically, I am the one talking about it. but my question there, Miss Julie, is that what is your effort in terms of responding to the changing consumer demand or the consumer behavior, and how do you get it? How do you process the information that you're getting? And with your expertise and experience, you can easily adapt and create products or services that appeal to or address that specific need.
So ever since we started, we've been heavily focusing on our chat platform. Sounds very simple, but when shoppers ask us about things and mention specific things they want, we really take it seriously. If it's something we don't have, it's something that we look into. So, for example, we started selling hair color, and then we got feedback that this lady wished she had other tools to help hair color at home less messy. So there are tools like ear covers, a cutting tape or a coloring tape, crop clips to section hair better. So there are other adjacent needs for this need that we could also go into. So it's a matter really of listening to our customers. It's an easy source of insights and leads for what could be next. And we use that chat platform as a rich source of information for feeding what we might do next. I mean, we don't have to look far. It's not even a matter of checking what other countries are doing or anything like that. It's really just listening to what our shoppers are saying and figuring out what's relevant for the times.
Wow, yeah, interesting, Miss Julie. And another fact that's really interests a lot of people is how women or how people are really looking at the business of beauty, specifically during the pandemic. What were your insights, during about this business, about your industry? What were your discoveries, that makes your team strategize or revisit your business model so you can offer more for your customers?
So we do understand the importance of care and how this affects a person's self-confidence and self-esteem. During the pandemic, while people weren't seeing other people face to face, everyone's on Zoom or some video call, and that with that, people do see your features more. I would say you'll notice more that your teeth are crooked, or you'll notice more certain flaws about your face, and that it might sound minor or petty, but it does contribute to your self-esteem, and that's why for a lot of people, especially for women who don't want to look like they're aging, when you see roots, when you see grace, and you don't look like you don't look your best, then you really have to find a way to make yourself look your best. And people can't just dismiss that. It's actually considered essential, I would think.
Okay, now our topic really, Miss Julie, is of course in partnership with Globe My Business, and we are joining them as we celebrate the International Women's Month. And as a woman, there's a lot of things that you are celebrating now. I've been talking with frontliners as well, nurses, doctors, media people, lawyers. A lot of them are really celebrating the new role of women. Now, what do you think? Is it that you yourself as a woman is celebrating, and what are your challenges in your industry?
Okay, for the first question, what is worth celebrating as a woman? I think it's worth celebrating the fact that we are now free to choose, much more than in previous generations. We are now free to choose to do what we want to do. So if in the past there were very restrictive social norms that made women just required to fit a certain mold, in these times women actually are able to choose. For example, if they want to have kids, or if they don't want to have kids, if they want to work. And I think that's worth celebrating, because it took years of women showing what they were capable of, and showing that they were not just for the home, and they could do more than what society was expecting them to do. So that's one thing worth celebrating. And in our industry specifically, as a startup, one of the big challenges we have, and I don't think this is specifically for women actually, it's the fact that you don't know a lot of things. If you're a startup, you're entering a business that is not yet established. And obviously there will be a lot of questions along the way. The good thing about that now is there's Google, and there's chat boxes. You can ask. There's Zoom. You can ask for help from somebody who's more knowledgeable in the industry. So it isn't anymore as restrictive as before. Even if you have these challenges, they can be overcome with the help of technology.
Now, Miss Julie, you mentioned earlier your experience is more on distribution and trade marketing. But what were your learnings there that you were able to apply in your startup? I know that you have handled a lot of brands, a lot of multinational brands, and these are some of the top brands in the Philippines. What were which I think is an advantage also that you have brought into this startup. So what are these learnings or these advantages in distribution and trade marketing that you somehow managed to utilize in the formation of your startup?
I would have to agree that it has been very helpful in starting this business. Definitely, I would not have had the same inputs if I did not have that experience. And I guess the most basic it would be the discipline of doing things in certain ways. When it comes to following frameworks, when it comes to professionalizing a business. It's not your typical mom and pop store that is unstructured. So it was that discipline that I learned from my corporate background that helped us structure our business better. And of course, there were a lot of things I learned in the industry about how things work um, that I did apply definitely in this industry, because us selling online is actually also distribution. So it is a similar it's just in a different form. And I would say it's a more modern or contemporary method of distributing, but the principles are actually the same.
Now, Miss Julie, having that kind of experience, what are the types of what are the hurdles that you have somehow encountered in the workplace, in the startup business, and how were you able to hurdle them?
Oh, okay. So one of the biggest hurdles is that you really have to be more efficient when it comes to dealing with your own startup, because you have less resources. And there was also one hurdle that I felt as an entrepreneur, given that I'm a parent and I have my own business. The difference when you have your own business is you actually kind of work in some ways 24/7, because it is your business. Plus, when it's e-com and online, people don't stop messaging even at midnight, actually. So one of the biggest hurdles is work-life balance. And when we got into this business, I actually wanted to make sure that the team has work-life balance. So we actually have practices in place that ensure that we work following flexi time. We also really make an effort to lessen our meetings. We get work done on our own time and make use of certain platforms and tools to align ourselves. But most of the members of our team are actually moms, and we know how we want to prioritize our time, and the goal really is to be more efficient with the use of our time so that we can spend our time on our homes and other things that are also very valuable to us.
Speaking of work-life balance, is that also, do you think, is that a trait also of women now? And what other skill sets should a woman entrepreneur should have as they face the pandemic? And being a woman, and as Globe My Business calls it, Pinaypreneur. So what do you think are the skill sets of women, or not necessarily women, but entrepreneurs, for us to all survive this pandemic?
I think one very important skill to learn for women during this pandemic is to have foresight, to be able to anticipate things better. So it's good to be resilient, but what's even better is to have the foresight and to anticipate things. Because if you're able to anticipate things, meaning plan 5 steps ahead, start executing 3 steps ahead, that will make things less difficult for you whenever challenging things come your way. So an example would be in March last year, when the lockdown, there was, you get a sense, I guess it's intuition for women. That's one strong thing women supposedly have. You get a gut feel for what might happen, seeing that there were rising cases. Then you have a feeling that if in other countries lockdowns were happening, then you have to be able to anticipate that it might happen to us too. So I think it's very important, given these times, given all the changes, to listen to your intuition, make informed guesses. Of course, You have to make informed guesses as well, and that's really possible now with the internet.
That's very insightful, Miss Julie. That's really, you know, a great number of insights and input. But what about your choice of business? Having been exposed in distribution and trade and marketing, and finally you wanted to set up your own. Was this your passion? Was this something that you really, as part of your dream? In your case, what is it that, what criteria did you use, in selecting the sector or the type of business that you wanted to develop? And in the development of this, on the business model or the structure, what were your vision for it, this Julie?
So in my case, it's not specific to salons or e-commerce. I just knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur because I like creating things and I like solving problems. And I wanted to do these on my own time. So I felt that entrepreneurship would be great for me. And it was at a time when I got married and I first saw that I would have kids. And I wanted to have that freedom to attend to family life. So those are some of the factors that made me decide to be an entrepreneur. And as far as this specific industry is concerned, I'm not actually limited to this industry. It's one of the industries I find interesting because I'm a woman and I like hair and beauty. I think that's pretty easy to understand. But there are also other industries I'm interested in. And I think in the future, I'm still open to having those businesses in other industries.
Wow, that's interesting, Miss Julie. Now, I think we're running out of time, but one important question now, which you also mentioned earlier during the interview, is the fact that you said the infrastructure is there, specifically on the technology side. And maybe because you are young, you are a young mother, and you are someone who has to really embrace digital marketing, and the digital space is something that is already intrinsic in your business operations. How important to you is the use of technology for businesses, and considering also that Globe My Business is our partner, what digital solutions do you think are needed for entrepreneurs like you, Pinaypreneurs like you, should consider in having?
So technology is really helpful for businesses to be more efficient. And these days, you'll find that people want all transactions to be fast, right, and convenient. And Globe has been very helpful for our business in terms of their GCash service. GCash has actually been one of our customers' top choices for payment platforms on the site. And there was actually a spike during the pandemic. More people started paying via GCash. And I could see why that was so, because it's really convenient to use. And we extended that same convenience to our own staff. So our ground ops team now gets their payroll through GCash. And we did this because we know it's convenient for them to be able to send money to their relatives and loved ones. And that has been helpful in making us more efficient with our transactions.
Wow, that's interesting, Miss Julie. And before we finish this conversation, I'd also like to ask you what are your learnings during the pandemic? And you said this is, this here MNL is just one of maybe a beginning for you as an entrepreneur and you are looking at other areas where you can invest, where do you think and what are those industries that you think you would invest into in the future?
Well, I think one thing became clear to me. So it's true that during the pandemic, I did have a lot of time to reflect, and I actually even had a lot of time to read books, and it became clear to me that what I wanted for myself was to provide more jobs for people, and that's why I'm not limiting myself to this particular business. There. So I hope in the future to be able to come up with more ideas and bring new businesses to life that will employ more people and help people have more sustainable jobs.
So, in your case as a woman entrepreneur, do you think the Philippines or the Philippine business is really giving better opportunities for women to be entrepreneurs? Using your own example, your own experience, Miss Judy, do you think the business climate, the business environment is also offering a lot of opportunities for women, for mothers, housewives to venture into entrepreneurship?
Honestly, I think we could use more help there. So while it is actually important for women to have more opportunities, there has to be better support, I would say, from the government and even certain private institutions that are capable of supporting women to support entrepreneurship for women. It's a really good thing for women to be in businesses because it helps the economy and it helps them take care of the most basic unit in society, which is family. And to support that will mean there will be a lot of effects in the long run.
Okay. Miss Julie, your message to women who are watching out there, and also your message to our partner, Globe My Business, as we celebrate the International Women's Month.
For all women out there who would like to start a business or get into a business, I would highly encourage you to start. It might be daunting at first. There will be a lot of challenges, but there is the internet and there are people who can support you. There are a lot of communities now and different groups. You can just message if you need assistance. But what's important is to start because from there you'll learn. And if you don't start, your ideas will just really remain ideas and you'll never learn. So that is important to learn. And to Globe, thank you so much for empowering our business to be more efficient and to help us support our team with your payment solutions.
Thank you so much. That's Miss Julie Ortuste, CEO and founder of Hair MNL. Open for Business will be back. Stay with us.
Broadcast journalist Wayne De La Fuente returns on Philippine television and radio to deliver top stories and engage with the country's policymakers, shapers, and movers. Tatalakayin ang mga pangunahing balita alas 7 ng umaga mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes live sa teleradyo ng Net25 at Radyo Aguila DCEC 1062. Kasama si Wayne De La Fuente sa Balitalakayan.
Thank you for watching Open for Business. Join us again in the next episodes of Open for Business for more insights from CEOs, thought leaders, industry experts, and SMEs promoting business development in the Philippines. See you again every Saturday and Sunday here in Open for Business, where we discuss business information, deliver the latest business news to keep you informed and open for business and be ahead of the curve from vision to action. You're on Facebook Live on Eagle News and at Net25 TV, and you can watch us again in the video section of the Eagle News and Net25 Facebook pages and on eaglenewslive.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Net25 TV. Thank you again for watching for Open for Business. This is Cesar Vallejos. We live in interesting times.
This program is supported by PMEG Premium at Protect Plus Gold. Sama-sama sa laban, walang iwanan.
This program is supported by Globe My Business.